Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. May the Lord protect us both, the teacher and the taught, together by revealing knowledge. May the Lord protect us both by giving us the results of knowledge. May we attain vigor together. Let what we study be illuminating. May we not cavil at each other. Om. Peace, peace, peace. So, we are studying the Katha Upanishad. This is Swami Vivekananda's favorite Upanishad. The Katha Upanishad has 2 chapters, each of 3 sections. So we had completed the first chapter, and then we had started the second chapter. We had completed the first section, the second chapter, and before summer. And now we are about to start the second section of the second chapter of the Katha Upanishad. Briefly, we all know the story. The little boy Nachiketa goes to the house of death and asks death about the mystery, what happens after death. The well-known story, the death grants him 3 boons, and the point here is actually the third boon. The third boon was the question, the most important question, the mystery of death. What happens to us when we die? Is it just the complete end, as a materialist would have it, or do we exist after death, as religions of the world tell us? But that's actually not the essential question. It becomes later Nachiketa sharpens his question. He, being a part of a traditional, Vedic culture, he doesn't doubt that people exist after death, and the earlier portion of the Vedas, which consists of rituals by which one can go to various heavens after death. So that was a kind of given for people. They didn't seriously doubt it, at least those who believed in the Vedic religion. But what he's asking is much more important. He knows that is not the end of the matter, because even if we still do exist after death, it doesn't solve anything. It just means that we'll be born again in better or worse circumstances. And the whole thing is propelled by our past karma. So this was a common idea all throughout Indian civilization, from the very ancient times, which we see in the Vedic times, where this Upanishad comes from, down to the ancient Buddhists, Jains, medieval times, down to, say, even a sort of medieval religion like Sikhism, which comes from India. They also believe in the same thing, that there are multiple lives and we go through life after life. So is there some ultimate reality behind all this? What is the point of it all? What's our real nature? Is it just the body, or which dies at the death of the body? Or is it the subtle body, which goes from lifetime to lifetime, and which is subject to continuous change? Thoughts, feelings, emotions, pleasure, pain, all this keeps coming in our minds. That's a subtle body. So is it just this, or is there some reality behind all of this? Or is it just a mass of change? And Yama says that there is something most worthwhile to know. So he reveals the mystery of the Atman at the end of this first chapter, towards the end of the first chapter. The second chapter continues this theme, that we are actually not the body, not the mind. We are pure existence, we are pure consciousness. And if we were to realize ourselves as this pure existence or pure consciousness, we would actually solve all the major problems of life. We would see that we are beyond death, we are beyond suffering, and that's called enlightenment, and that's called freedom from the cycle of birth and death, and that would bring to an end the series of limited existences. So this is the teaching, the core idea of Vedanta. In fact, most of the first chapter was spent, first of all, in the story of Yama and Nachiketa. Then it was spent in the, Yama tests Nachiketa, whether he's fit for this knowledge, and that's a long portion. And then there are other things like talks about the preliminary practices. There is the imagery of the chariot, which is developed at some length. The body and mind are compared to a chariot going on a spiritual journey and so on. It's in the second chapter that we come to core Vedanta, really. So, for example, in the section which we just completed, second chapter, first section, which we completed before summer. So Yama talks about, he says that we are continuously flowing outwards into this world. And that's why we do not realize ourselves as the Atman. The first mantra of the second chapter, in the first section, Paranchikhani Vetrinat Swayambhu Tasmat Param Pashyati Nantaratman. What it means is our senses and our minds are turned outwards into this world. We are engrossed in what we see and hear and smell and taste and touch. We're engrossed with things in the world outside. We're engrossed with people, with our events in the world outside. And that's how we spend our lives. And we do not see our inner self. And the Atman, which Yama is teaching here, it's not evident to us at all. And then he goes on to say that those who, the next mantra, in fact, the second mantra, te mrityuryanti vitatasya pasham. What's the harm if we remain engrossed in the external world, like most people are remaining in this world? So what is the harm? The harm is that such people fall in the extended snares of death. He says, te mrityuryanti vitatasya pasham. When death has set out an extended net, a network of death. So they're born and they die and they're born again. And this lifetime, this cycle of birth and death, basically a cycle of limitation and suffering. It is repeated again and again and again without limit until we learn the lesson, until we learn to look inside and realize who we truly are. And then what will we realize if we look inside? So then there are a number of very powerful mantras which we studied last time. So he says, this consciousness, what is this consciousness? In the third mantra, he has said, second chapter, first section, third mantra, Yena rupam rasam gandham shabdan sparshans tamaithunan eteneva vijanati. He says, this is this very consciousness by which you see all forms, colors, and shapes which you are seeing, the experience of seeing, the experience of tasting, the experience of smelling, rupam, rasam, gandham, touch. Not just that, all the other experiences of thinking, of remembering, all of these things, they are all coming because of this one consciousness. So it is one consciousness shining, and we get all the experiences which we think of as our life. What is happening to you throughout the day? Throughout the day, you have certain perceptions of the world outside. You see, hear, smell, taste, touch, and internally, you think, you remember, you desire, you enjoy, you suffer, and you wake, you dream, you sleep. All of this is this one consciousness. It runs through all of them and illumines all of this, and this gives you these experiences. So this is the Atman. This consciousness is the Atman, this pure consciousness, which is there, and it's basically, it enables our entire life. Notice, it is not the body, it is not the senses, it is not even the mind, thoughts, feelings, emotions, and yet it is not something separate apart from all of this. It is that which enables all of these activities to happen. It makes our life possible, and yet it transcends body, mind, senses. So this is the Atman. Then the fourth mantra, Swapnantam Jagaritantam Chobhau Yena Anupashyati. The Avastatraya Vichara he introduces. Waking, dreaming, deep sleep. These are all made possible. These are all illumined by one consciousness, and that consciousness you are. It's not limited to the waking world. It's not limited to dream. It's not limited to deep sleep. It makes all of them possible, and yet is free. It transcends all of these. So this immanent, transcendent self, what's it made of? It is being, it is consciousness, Sat, Chit. So this is what we are, and this was explained in detail in the first section. And notice, each of these mantras, you see how they have been developed in other Upanishads. This mantra which says, by which you see, hear, smell, taste, touch, that consciousness is the Atman. But that is the whole theme of the Kena Upanishad, we'll see later on. Then the next mantra, by which our waking, dreaming, deep sleep are all illumined, by which we get the experience of the three states of waking, dreaming, deep sleep. But we know that's the whole theme of the entire Mandukya Upanishad and Mandukya Karika. So just each of these mantras in a seed form, it gives us so much, this vast, wisdom about the self, about the ultimate reality, which has developed in more detail in other Upanishads. Now we come to the second section. These sections are called Valli, second section. So chapter is called Adhyaya and section is called Valli. So second Adhyaya and second section. In the introduction of the second section, Adi Shankaracharya, in his commentary, he says, Prakarantarena Brahma Tattva Nirdharanartho Ayam Arambho Durvigyayatvad Brahmana. What are we going to do in this section? He says, we're going to learn about Brahman. And he said, but our reaction would be, that's what we have been doing all along anyway. Are you going to repeat everything? He says, Prakarantarena, in a different way. We will approach the same thing, same truth in a different way. Why? Why do you want to do that? Durvigyayatvad, because it's very subtle, very difficult to realize. So that's what all the Upanishads do. All the Upanishads do just one thing. They are teaching us one truth, who you are, our real nature. But they're doing it in 100 different ways, so that somehow, somewhere, something will click. And then if one of them clicks, if you get it in any one of these ways, in any one of these explanations, everything will click. You will understand every other Upanishad also. So here he's saying in another way, because the teaching is so subtle, because it's so difficult to realize, the same teaching about Brahman is now going to be given in another way. Right. Now, second chapter, second section, first mantra. Puramika dashadwaram ajasya vakrachetasa anusthaya nashochati vimuktascha vimuchyate etadvaitat. So, let me read the English translation from Swami Gambhiranandaji's book. The unborn one, which consciousness is unflickering. There is a city with 11 gates in which this unborn one of the unflickering consciousness resides in this city with 11 gates. Meditating on him, one does not grieve, and becoming freed, one becomes emancipated. This indeed is that. This phrase is repeated again and again by Yama. Remember who's teaching here? Yama, the Lord of Death. And who's listening? The little boy Nachiketa. And of course, we are all listening through that. And Yama repeats this phrase again and again. Etad vaitad. This is indeed that. This is indeed that. That what? What you had asked about. Your question. The third question. That what is the nature of the self? What is this mystery of death? So here, we are being told, again, our attention is drawn to ourselves. And the body mind, the body especially, is now described as a city with 11 gates. You know, the body has been described already as a chariot earlier. So it's not a chariot, it's not a city, but this is just a paradigm, a model, so that it helps us to investigate ourselves, to look into ourselves. Now think of the body as a city with 11 gates. And in this city resides you, the Atman, and it is said the unborn one, Ajaha, and the one of unflickering consciousness. And Anusthaya, to meditate upon that, and the result will be you'll go beyond sorrow, nashochati, and you will get liberation. liberation again of two kinds, vimukta, vimuchyate. So we'll explain all that. What does it mean? First of all, what do you mean a city with 11 gates? So the body has these entrances, these openings, apertures. So in the head, the face itself, you have the ears and the nostrils and the eyes and the mouth. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then there are below the openings of the organs of evacuation and reproduction. So that's 8 and 9. And then there is the navel, which is, we don't think of it as a gate, but when the baby, before the baby is born, that was actually where our food supply came from. So there was this tube which connected us to the mother, and the mother's body provided us with nourishment. So there was a gate which was open, but after birth it is permanently sealed. So, but it's still a gate. It's counted. And then there is a mystical gate. It's called Brahmarandra. It's supposed to be here at the top of the head, in the crown of the head, and it's supposed to function just once. For highly spiritual people at the time of death, the jivatma, that means the consciousness with the subtle body, when the physical body dies, the jivatma, it proceeds upwards and leaves this physical body through that. So that's the basic, it's a yogic idea, through the Brahmarandra. And not for everybody. It's only for spiritually advanced people who have practiced meditation, who are already established in meditation. Not for the enlightened. Remember one thing, it's not for the enlightened. The enlightened ones do not go anywhere. They don't go anywhere. They don't come anywhere. They are already one with Brahman. They are Brahman. They are the reality of this universe. They don't go anywhere from this body. Going and coming is a sign of lack of enlightenment. So everybody else we do not know who we are. So we remain identified with this body and as a subtle body. When the physical body dies, we are forced to shed our identification with this body. We are forced to let go of it. We don't want to, we clutch hold of it. We are scared, terrified, but we have to let go of it. And then where are we? What are we then? We are consciousness plus mind, or subtle body. So the mind, the intellect, the memory, all the impressions of our past lives, plus the prana, all together. So that sort of goes up into a seed form and it leaves this body. So that's what's called the transmigration, moving from one lifetime to another, from one physical body to another physical body. That's what might be called the soul, the jivatma. And the jivatma, in special cases, for a highly evolved spiritual soul, is supposed to proceed through this, the central spinal cord, the sushumna nadi, and go to the Brahmarandra there, and then exit the body from this at the time of the death of the body, and go to higher worlds, go to dwell with God in heaven, and so on and so forth. But for the enlightened person who has realized that I am Brahman, you have realized your true nature. You are no longer, you're not even at all identified with this physical body or with the subtle body anyway. It's an appearance to you. It's like a movie. It's like a picture. You are not it. You are unlimited being, existence, your unlimited awareness already. You always were, you just realize yourself as that. So there's no coming and going for you anywhere. So that's the different. But anyway, we are counting that as one of the gates, a special gate of the city, opened only on very auspicious, special circumstances of a highly spiritual soul leaving this city. So now you have 11 gates, 7 in the head region, and 2 below, and then 1 in the navel. So that's 10 and 11 here. Just by the way, those who have read the Bhagavad Gita, it may strike you that in the 5th chapter, there is this, the model of the body as a city with 9 gates. Navadware this Dehi, he says, the dweller of the body sits in the city, Navadware Pure Dehi Nakurvan Nakarayan. 5th chapter, 13th shloka, Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says to Arjuna, there is a city with 9 gates, and in that you dwell as the indwelling self. So why 9 gates? And so where is this accounting error of 2 gates? Are we missing 2 gates? So these 2 special gates were not counted. Those 2 special gates are the navel, which is permanently sealed when you're born, and the gate at the top, the mystical gate, which does not open unless one is a highly spiritual soul transmigrating. I've told you the story earlier, but I can repeat it here. This was told to me by Swami Suhitanandaji Maharaj, who is now the vice president of our order, and he served Swami Premeshanandaji for many, many years. So Swami Premeshanandaji was a disciple of the Holy Mother, Ma Sharada, and regarded as an enlightened being in our order. So when he passed, and Swami Suhitanji said, I expected to see some kind of extraordinary happening. He has a vision of maybe Sri Ramakrishna, or we hear of all the hairs of the body standing on the end, some kind of samadhi experience, something. But in reality, what happened was, this is the old Swami who had been old and sick for a long time, for many, many years. So he had to be fed. And Swami Suhitananda, who was a young novice at that time, was feeding him with a spoon. And you had to sort of cajole him like you would do to a reluctant child. And sometimes he wouldn't eat. He said, "You will open your mouth, please eat." And that day in the morning, the doctor had come to examine him. And the doctor had said, everything is fine today. He's feeling good. And the doctor left the room, and it was time to feed the old Swami. So Swami Suhitanji offered the food in a spoon, and he ate 1 spoon, and the next he was not opening his mouth, and the Swami was saying, "Please open your mouth, please, please eat." No response. He's sitting like a doll, like a picture. So Suhitanji got a little nervous, and he ran out to call the doctor, who had not even crossed the courtyard. So the doctor came back again, and they found he's gone. He's gone. It's just like a clock which was ticking, and then stops. That's it. So anyway, that was the end. Later, Swami Suhitanji said, I was puzzled by all of this, and I went to ask a great Vedanta teacher who was in the ashram that was in Benares, the Kashi Sevashram in Benares, Vishwarupanandaji Maharaj, who has translated the Brahma Sutras and commentaries into Bengali. I have got the set right here, 4 volumes. It's a massive work. He was a great scholar of Vedanta. So this Swami asked that Swami, so this is what happened when Premeshanandaji passed, and I'm a little puzzled. And then that Swami became excited, and he said, what are you saying? Is this what happened? And he said, I can show you. This is the sign of a Brahmagyani. There's no transmigration, no movement, no coming and going. He's already free long ago. He has realized he's one with Brahman. He is one with Brahman, always has been. There is nothing special from that person's perspective, the enlightened one's perspective, at the drop of the body, at the going of the body. So this is the meaning of vimuktascha vimuchyate. Here the words have been used. If you literally see the translation, being liberated becomes liberated. Vimukta, having been liberated, vimuchyate, becomes liberated. So what it means is, the person was already a Jivan Mukta. The moment he attained Brahmagyana, he is a Jivan Mukta. And at the drop of the body, he attains what is called Videha Mukti, bodiless liberation. So liberation while living and bodiless liberation. Remember, the difference is made only by the body, and it's of importance only to us. It's not of importance to the enlightened one. The enlightened one knows I am Brahman, regardless of whether the body is there or not. But from our perspective, makes a big difference, because that enlightened one is available to us in the body. And so we say he's enlightened while living. So it's a great source of teaching. These are the enlightened beings who teach us. And then what happens when the body dies? The person is not born again. Unlike the rest of us, we go through other existences. The person remains as infinite Brahman. So not being born again, that is called Videha Mukti, bodiless liberation. That is again from our perspective. From the enlightened person's perspective, it doesn't, he's not even a person actually. The enlightened one is not even a person. The enlightened one is Brahman. All right, now let us look at the mantra itself. Puram Ekadasha Dwaram. In this city of 11 gates, there is a king. Who is the king? You, the consciousness. You dwell as a king in this city. Ajaha, it says, you are the unborn one. Why the unborn one? The body is born and the body ages and the body is subject to disease and the body dies. You, the consciousness, are not born with the birth of the body. You do not age with the aging of the body. You are not diseased with the disease of the body. And you do not die with the dying of the body. So this is called Ajaha, unborn. The body goes through 6 modifications. Birth, coming to existence, then birth, that is conception, then birth, and then there is childhood, that is growth, and then there is maturation, then there is deterioration or aging, and then there is destruction or death. 6-fold changes. Asti jayate, vardhate, viparinamate, apakshiyate, nashyati, the Sanskrit terms for the 6-fold changes. Now, consciousness does not undergo these changes. So that's the preliminary meaning of the term Ajaha, unborn. But there's a deeper meaning of the term. And those who we have done Mandukya Upanishad, it's a whole very profound philosophy. This consciousness is not an effect, is not a cause. Not an effect means it's not produced by something else. Body is produced. Body is subject to 6-fold changes. Consciousness is not subject to 6-fold changes. It's just the witness of all of them. Even the mind, thoughts are produced. And thoughts float around for a little while. And thoughts subside. Feelings, emotions, ideas, memories, they all come, float around. Perceptions, they all come, float around and disappear. They are produced. They exist for a while and then they subside back again. Consciousness is constant. Body is a series of physical changes. Mind is a series of mental changes. Consciousness is constant, is not one of those changes. And consciousness is neither a product, but it's not a cause also. It's not a producer of anything. Just like a screen, on a movie screen, you have, maybe you're seeing a documentary on Africa where lions are chasing deer or something like that. And in the movie, there are the lions and the deer and the hunting going on. But all of it is made possible by the movie screen. But it's not that the movie screen is in any way involved in the story being shown there. It's not a lion, it's not a deer, it does not hunt, it is neither hunted, and yet it makes everything possible. Without it, nothing would be possible. Exactly like that. You are the one illuminating consciousness shining in and through every occurrence of your life, and yet you're not touched by any of it. And you are neither the effect, nor the things which are changing and being affected in this world, nor are you the cause of it. So this Turiya, this consciousness, is not God. God is the cause of this universe. God is the cause of this universe. God is cause and universe is effect. That's why God, in all the theistic religions, God is called creator. It's cause, producer, creator, the source of all things. And this is something deeper than that, underlying that. It appears as God and the products of God. It appears as cause and effect. Atman, consciousness, being, it appears as cause and effect. But in itself, it's neither cause nor effect. That's the meaning of Ajaha, the unborn one. What's its nature? If you ask, what is the body? We know what it's made of. It's made of tissues and organic matter. If you ask about mind, what is it made of? It's made of thoughts, feelings, emotions. But what are they made of? They're made of subtle matter, sukshma tanmatras, we studied in Vedanta Sara. But you, this Atman, what is it made of? Which is neither a cause nor an effect. What's it made of? What is it actually? Avakra chetasa. Chetasa is consciousness. Chetasa means consciousness. Cheta, consciousness. Avakra, vakra means crooked, twisting and turning. Avakra, straight. What do you mean straight? Can consciousness be straight or crooked and turning? See, what happens is, it is one consciousness shining, and then it shines upon the mind. The mind has so many kinds of thoughts, ideas, memories, desires, and all of them are illumined by this one consciousness. So it's as if one consciousness bursts into thousands of shimmering little consciousnesses. I saw this just yesterday or day before. I was walking in the park, and I saw sunlight falling on the lake, and there were these ducks swimming there, and on the waves it's sparkling. The water was sparkling with the sunlight. So it's one straight sunlight, but it bursts into thousands of sparkling little wavelets in the lake. And similarly, it's one consciousness which you are. When it shines upon the mind, it's as if thousands of thoughts, emotions, ideas all seem conscious, because they borrow consciousness from you. That borrowed consciousness is called Chidabhasa, reflected consciousness. So this is the first time that straight one consciousness now appears to be manifold. Some of those thoughts are nice, some are just humdrum, some are miserable, some are anxious, some are full of fear, some are full of desire and hankering, some are full of anger, some are peaceful and spiritual, some are creative, some are memories and nostalgia, some are, and so in so many ways, the same consciousness now shines upon all these thoughts. And further, as it flows into the senses, same consciousness, one pure subject, non-objective light of consciousness, now becomes seeing, which is very different from thinking or feeling. It becomes hearing. Hearing is very different from seeing and thinking and feeling. So if you can see, right now, if you open your eyes and you're watching this, this is one kind of experience. If you sit with closed eyes and just listen, it'll be a different kind of experience. And yet, the one which gives you this experience of seeing, the extraordinary experience of seeing color and shape and motion. And if you close your eyes and just attend to the hearing, the more muted experience of various sounds and textures of sound, both are that same consciousness. It is avakra chetasa, so that means straight, pure, unchanging, like a white light. Why I'm saying white light, it's not white light, it's not light at all, but it's like white light. It's a phrase used by Aurobindo. He says, this is a very awesome phrase. He says, the world drowned in the white glare of an immortal gaze. Look at the powerful poetry of it. The world drowned in the white glare of an immortal gaze. What is the immortal gaze? Consciousness. Avakra chetasa. Avakra, unflickering. Straight, another meaning, Shankaracharya says, unflickering. It's like a glare. If you look at somebody straight without blinking, it's called glaring. With big eyes, if you look, imagine a vast eye, a cosmic eye, which is shining upon the entire universe. The universe is drowned in the white glare of an immortal gaze. Avakra chetasa. This unflickering light of consciousness, this steady glare of consciousness. What does it have to do with me? That is you, Tat Tvamasi. That's you right now. Yeah, I don't see myself as an unflickering gaze, and you are experiencing that unflickering gaze all the time. That's why you can see and hear and smell and taste and touch. That's why you can think and listen to all this. That's why you can think and understand all this. That's why you can enjoy and suffer also. All of it is possible because of this unflickering glare of consciousness which you are. It's not that you have this kind of unflickering consciousness. You are this unflickering consciousness. It seems to flicker because of the movement of the mind. It seems to flicker because of our eyes and ears and nose and skin, the various modalities of sensation. It seems to be differing, but it's all one. I was thinking, moonlight. Now, if one did not know how it works, if somebody is told that moonlight is nothing but sunlight, so we would think that, so sunlight is, it increases and decreases. We clearly see it. Sometimes there's more of it, sometimes there's less of it. No, It is the moon which goes through phases. So you have more moonlight, less moonlight, that's correct. But the sunlight which is originally is avakra chetasa, is unflickering light, not increasing, not decreasing. And that's an example for consciousness. Good. What do I do then? Anushtaya. Anushtaya means practicing, but Shankaracharya gives the meaning meditating upon it, meditating upon this teaching. And he gives further instruction there. He says in his commentary, he says, Dhyatva, Anushtaya Dhyatva, Dhyanam hi tasya Anushtanam samyak vijnana purvakam. So samyak vijnana purvakam. First of all, collect clear teaching, clear understanding, clarity about what is being said here. We are not talking about the world. We're not talking about the body. We're not talking about the sensory system. We're not talking about the mind. We're not even talking about waking, dreaming, deep sleep. We are using all of this: world, body, senses, mind, waking, dreaming, sleeping, all of these to point to that one consciousness. And note it. You don't have to become it. You don't have to sit there. So don't take it literally. Don't sit there glaring at everybody. What are you doing? I'm meditating. The Swami told me to glare without blinking. No. You are that one unflickering consciousness. Know that and dwell on that. And stay with that I am that. And to it, to me, that unflickering consciousness, that straight consciousness, appears mind. And then I burst upon the mind, or I shine through the mind and appear to be various thoughts and various emotions, various happy and miserable and hopeless and hopeful and so many things, anxious and brave, all of that. One unflickering consciousness, now mind becomes scattered. And then further, the modalities of seeing and hearing and smelling and tasting. So that is meditation. That is the knowledge. First of all, samyak vijnana means this is the knowledge, this clarity. Listen to the Upanishadic teachings, listen to Katha Upanishad, Kena Upanishad, Mandukya, listen to the Bhagavad Gita, listen, think about it, get clarity. Then he says, meditate upon it. And Shankaracharya adds here, tam sarvaishana vinirmukta san samam sarva bhutastam dhyatva na shochati. Sarvaishana vinirmukta means, literally it would mean, what it implies is becoming a monk. That's the very definition of. So Shankaracharya never misses an opportunity to tell you should become a monk. Sarva Eshana Vinurmukta. Eshana means, there's a deep technical meaning for that. This desire for this world and desire for the next world. All kinds of worldly, this worldly and otherworldly desires, giving it all up. Why would you do that? To become enlightened, to realize who I am. Giving up all desires. So that's the internal monasticism that everybody, all of us have to do. And external monasticism would mean actually taking the vows. So the vows in monasticism basically consist in giving up these are called Eshana, desires, powerful instigators which propel us into samsara. Step back from them. Swami Vivekananda's powerful words, thine only is the hand that holds the rope that drags thee on. Let go thy hold, sannyasi bold. Say Om Tat Sat Om. So thine only is the hand that holds the rope that drags thee on. What are you holding on to? Well, what is this holding on to the rope? The three Eshanas. I'm not going to go to the details of that. Being free of their desires. Internally, all of us. Externally, if you are going to be formally a monk. Samam sarva bhutastam. I'm reading from Shankaracharya's commentary now. I'm not reading from the original mantra. Samam sarva bhutastam dhyatva. See this one consciousness equally present everywhere in every entity. Just like the screen is equally present in every entity in the movie. Whoever is there in the movie, the hero, the villain, the sky, the earth, the dog, the grass, the water, all of it, behind all of it is one movie screen, the same screen. Similarly, behind all of this, in and through all our experiences in all beings, this one unborn consciousness, beyond cause and effect, unchanging, unflickering consciousness is present. You are present in all beings. Knowing this, what happens? Meditating thus, what happens? Na shochati, does not grieve, goes beyond sorrow. This is the promise of Vedanta. Why do all this? You do all this to go beyond sorrow. Why go beyond sorrow? Well, that's what you want to do in life. All that we have been doing in life and lifetime after lifetime is an effort to transcend sorrow, to attain fulfillment. That's what we're trying to do. And that's what you will attain when you realize yourself as this one limitless consciousness, which we are already. Na shojati, does not grieve at death, at disease, at so one's own, even others. So deep inside we will know that even when others are dead or they're suffering, in reality it's one consciousness. So it is at that level it's all right. Of course, at the surface level, at the level of samsara, body, mind, we will try to help everybody. We must. But inside we know the truth that ultimately it's the whole universe is one with God and it does not perish. At that level, at the deepest, most fundamental level. And at the level of the body, there's no doubt there is aging and there is disease and there is death. At the level of the mind, there is sorrow, there is coming and going. But once you realize who you are, at least at the level of the mind, a lot of the pain, the sorrow is assuaged. It goes away. That's what is meant by going beyond sorrow, going beyond suffering. At the deepest level, at the most existential level. It's not, every other solution is a band-aid. It works at some physical level, at some emotional level, but it is no solution at all. The problem still festers, the wounds still remain deep. And the real healing comes with enlightenment, with knowing that you are forever one with, if in devotional language, forever one with God, or in philosophical language, you are Brahman, you are the infinite. So no, na shojati, does not sorrow, does not grieve, goes beyond sorrow. Remember, practically both are possible. That one might, at a surface level, appear to be affected. But if you probe, if an ordinary person will say, I'm really suffering. The enlightened person will say, well, actually not really, I'm not really suffering. Although Sri Ramakrishna, for example, he demonstrates that so well. His beloved nephew Akshay dies in front of him. A young boy of some disease is dying. And when he's dying, Sri Ramakrishna is just standing there in a kind of ecstatic mood and smiling, and people would thought that how cruel. And Sri Ramakrishna said, why should I weep? I know that he's not dead. I can see it clearly. The body lies, he says, like a sword being unsheathed from its scabbard. I clearly saw the Jivatma, the individual being, sentient being, leaving the body. I don't know if he left through the 11th gate, but anyway, leaving the body like a sword being unsheathed from the scabbard. So he's there. It's a body which is gone. So he says, I was smiling. And yet, because he is avatar, he shows both the human side and the divine side. That's why he's a bridge between humanity and divinity. Afterwards, he weeps bitterly because he says, I know that he's the Atman, is not dead. But also it's equally true, I will never see that one again in that form, that most beloved form. That child, that beloved father, mother, that beloved person whom we loved and is dead now. I know even if the soul is immortal, that one will never come back. That's gone forever. So that's true. And at the level of samsara, it is all change and all transience. And so he says, I weep for that. He says, it's like, I felt so much sorrow in my heart. He says, like a towel being wrung down. In India, they have something called gamcha. It's a thin towel. So people use it after bathing to wipe their bodies. And then you wring out the water. And so like wringing it out. So it's as if somebody was wringing out my heart. There's so much pain in my heart when I thought about this beloved person whom I'll never see again. So both are there. At the deepest level, I'm absolutely clear that the Brahman alone is real and the world is an appearance and it's all right. At the samsara level, yes, change is there. Na shojati. Then what happens? Vimuktascha vimuchyate. Being vimukta, jivan mukta. So jivan mukta means freed while living. after realizing this, you are called Jivan Mukta, that is freed while living. In this body itself, in this life itself, you're still there. You're still living, talking with people around you, yet you're liberated. You are not bound body, mind like everybody else. Everybody else thinks, I am body, mind. I am this one and nothing else. But here you know, you are all. You are this limitless consciousness. So this is called Jivan Mukta. And I won't go into the details of that for some other time. Then he adds, Vimuchyate. Being liberated is liberated. What is the second liberation? It's a liberation when the body dies. At one time, the body of the enlightened person also will die. And then what happens to the enlightened person? Where does he or she go? Does not go anywhere. So not even through the 11th gate. So the enlightened person already knows that he is one with Brahman, your infinite existence, consciousness, bliss. The individual. So what happens to the physical body? It goes back to the natural elements. What happens to the subtle body? Mind and intellect and the prana. What happens to it? For others, it curls up into a seed form and moves from lifetime to lifetime, from this body to another loka, to another world, from there to another birth. It moves, it travels. But what happens to this subtle body of the enlightened one? So that also goes back to nature. So this is the big difference between the enlightened one and the unenlightened. For the unenlightened, the physical body dies and goes back into nature, is burnt or cremated or whatever, it melts back into nature. But the subtle body continues. Whereas for the enlightened one, the physical body and the subtle body, Stula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, go back to nature itself. This is a very beautiful mantra in the Mundaka Upanishad, which I hope we will do at some time. Gata Kala Pancha Dasha Pratishtha. The physical body and the subtle body with its constituents, they go back to their sources in nature. And you remain as pure consciousness. That is only for the enlightened one. Vimuktascha vimuchyate. So what a powerful mantra. And Yama ends by saying, Etad Vaitad. This is what you had asked for, O Nachiketa. This was your question. Here is the answer. Then the next mantra, I'll just start it, but I won't do it today. There's no time. We'll see the questions. Now, notice, in this mantra, what has he pointed out? The classic Advaitic move. First of all, who am I? I'm not the body, not the mind. I'm existence, consciousness, bliss, Chidananda, Rupa, Shivoham. I'm of the nature of Shiva. I'm pure consciousness. The next step will be, this pure consciousness is one in all beings. It's not that in every body and every mind, there is a separate pure consciousness. First of all, isolate the pure consciousness. See yourself as pure consciousness. And then realize this pure consciousness is the one reality of the entire universe. Not that there are separate, like every body. In the body, there are organs. You have a heart, a liver, a kidney. You have a mind, memory. And these are all different in each body. They're all different. In that way, don't think that there is separate Atma or separate pure consciousness in each body. No. It is one consciousness in which all these bodies and minds and worlds are appearing. So the oneness of all existence will now be established in the next one. It's a powerful, a very poetic mantra. I'll read it, give you the translation, and then we'll stop. I will not explain it today. Second mantra. Hamsa Shuchishad Vasurantarikshasad Dhota Vedishad Atithi Duronasad Nrishad Varasad Ritasad Vyomasad Abja Goja Ritaja Adrija Ritam Brihat. What does this mean? You'll find it mystifying when I read it out. As the moving sun, he dwells in the heaven. As air, he pervades all and dwells in the interspace. As fire, he resides on the earth. As the soma, he stays in a jar. He lives among men. He lives among gods. He dwells in truth. He dwells in space. He is born in water. He is born in the earth. He is born in the sacrifice. He is born in the mountains. He is unchanging and he is great. What was this said here? It's an ecstatic outpouring. In this, Brahman, the reality of the entire universe, is pointed out using three examples: the sun, the air, and the fire. It's like in the cosmos around you. The Vedic sage finds the same reality. Who I am, I find this everywhere. So he says, look, there, Brahman is traveling. See, that's the sun in the sky. No, that's Brahman traveling through the sky. In the sky, he exists as the sun. And in the space all around us, he exists as this mighty atmosphere, as the wind which blows everywhere. That's wind. No, that's Brahman. And the fire which burns. Imagine the ancient Vedic people. They had all these fire sacrifices, the Homa. So the fire which burns here on the earth, that is Brahman. And the same Brahman, look in the waters. In the waters, Brahman is born as the fish, and as the aquatic plants, as the shrimp, as aquatic insects, and there's the whales. Look at the sacrificial fire, where Brahman exists as all the ingredients of the sacrifice. The Brahman is there in the mountains as the plants, and what rivers. As Adrija means river, actually. The rivers which are born from the mountains. Adrija means born from the mountains. But these are names also in Indian names. Many Indian. Adrija would be the name of a woman in Hinduism. So born from the mountains, a river which flows down from the Himalayas. So like this. And the same thing is in your heart as pure consciousness, which we just discussed. But the same thing is within all the gods in the heavens also. So in an ecstatic way, you can see the sage of the Upanishads pointing out to you this reality which you found yourself, this unchanging, unflickering white glare of the immortal gaze. Yes, what about it? It's there in the sky as the sun. How can it be? Is there consciousness in the sun? Don't bother. Sun exists, right? It is there. That isness itself is Brahman. It's like I'm showing you a piece of gold, and then I take it away. Where did it go? There it is, in the necklace in that which that person is wearing. There it is now, in the bracelet in which that person is wearing. There it is now, in the ring which that third person is wearing. Same gold. But there it's called a necklace, and it's on the neck of a person. There it's called a bracelet, it's on the wrist of a person. There it's called a ring, it's on the finger of a person. The names are different, the forms are different. How you use them, where you wear them, these ornaments are different from each other. And yet it's the same gold which I showed you. Exactly like that is Brahman is being pointed out throughout the cosmos. I must share with you that I once had this experience in the Himalayas. This was a very beautiful place called Harshil, about 9,000 feet high in the Himalayas. Once, after having begged for my food, I was walking in the mountains. Extraordinary beauty there. I mean, it's one of the most beautiful places I've seen in the Himalayas. Not that I've seen too much, but this was very nice. It's between three rivers flowing. And it's like a triangle of land, and surrounded by towering mountains, glaciers running down, and so the whole thing. So where I was walking, there were, in a distance, I saw a shepherd with his flock of sheep, and towering mountains with the glaciers and rivers running down. And there were plants all around, and the sun in the sky, and the wind, it moves very sort of erratically in the valleys between the towering mountains. Suddenly I thought, here is the sky. Here is the wind moving through these valleys. There the smoke rises from the fire. Here are the animals born from the earth. So here is Brahman in the sky, in the mountains. I actually recited this verse, this mantra. Hamsa Shushi Sad Vasur Antariksha Sad. I felt the enlightened one must have seen something like this and just burst out, seeing whatever around. Here it is clearly. Why do you not see it? So philosophically, what has been done is, in the first mantra, it was pointed out as your inner self. You are that. Now in the next mantra, it is being shown as Brahman, the reality of the entire universe, not just you. And it is the same thing. Atman is Brahman. Tat Tvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi. That has been established when you put these two mantras together. All right. Let's see the But I'll explain it again next time, the second mantra. Which shloka are we on? So yeah, that is second chapter, second section, first one. So these are mantras, right? The difference between shlokas and mantras is shloka is a verse. Mantra is also a verse, but it especially refers to these sacred texts, verses which are found in the Vedas and the Upanishads. So they are called mantras. So they are sacred. Shlokas may or may not be. So in the Gita, we have 700 shlokas, but these will be called mantras because they're part of the Upanishad of the Vedas. So the question should be, which mantra are we on? Prabir Basu, how do we explain Swamiji's leaving the body? It's the same thing. He knows he is Brahman. Or you could explain it in another way. He knows he's Brahman, and yet he chooses to maintain his individuality as one of the Saptarshis. So he holds on to that. Jai Shri says, can a householder attain Jivan Mukti? Of course, certainly. In Vedanta, there is no such distinction. Many of the teachers, in fact, Yama, the teacher here, is a householder. And Nachiketa is going to be a householder. He attains enlightenment. He's a householder. And the rishis of the Upanishads, and most of them were householders. And Krishna and Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita are householders. Alpana says, why is an enlightened being so compassionate when no one is really bound or suffering? True, no one is bound or suffering, and yet, at a certain level, people are bound and are suffering. And that's the most obvious truth for all of us. So when an enlightened person realizes, I am Brahman, and then sees all of us, and we do not realize this. That's our truth. We do not realize it. An enlightened one sees it at our level and tries to help us at our level. But you are right. There could be an even deeper level where the enlightened one does not see any need to help us. Mahapurush Swami Shivananda is a very interesting description. He was the president of our order in Belur, disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. He's the head of the entire monastic order. This is in the 1920s sometime. He's sitting there, and people are coming to bow down to him, monks and householder devotees in our main monastery in Calcutta, Belur Math. He starts bowing down to everybody. And people are discomfited by it. So they say, Swami, please don't do that. We feel so embarrassed. We are here, we are bowing down to you. Don't bow. Why are you bowing down to us? To all just the ordinary people who are coming. He said, what can I do? When they come, I can't see them. I see the divine form of their Ishta Devata. So each person has a particular spiritual attitude in life. You try to attain God in that particular way. And the Swami is seeing each person not as the person as we appear to each other, but as a form of God, as a god or a goddess, in the form of, as a divine form. And he says, I have to bow down to them. So then the divine form disappears and the human form emerges. Then only I can talk to them and teach them. Otherwise, I cannot. But yes, normally the enlightened one sees our suffering and our unenlightened state. Thank God. If the enlightened ones were going to told us, don't worry, you're not suffering, you are Brahman, I can clearly see that, so go away. There's nothing to be done. Then it won't be of much use to us. We need these teachings. Nivedita says, to understand why anything exists at all, someone said that consciousness has within it infinite possibilities, and we exist so that this consciousness can experience all of its infinite possibilities. This can explain why no two manifestations are the same. Yes, that is one good explanation. In fact, the Upanishads support it. Kashmiri Shaivism supports it. It says that consciousness alone, eko aham bahusyam, I am one, I shall project myself as many. It is the infinite nature of that reality which seeks to continuously, without any limit, keep on expressing itself. So this expression is what we are. But luckily, we are Brahman. We are grounded in that infinite nature, so we are safe. If we were only projected by that infinite nature into a little human form, I am only this little human being born on such and such date, fated to age and suffer and die, then it would be pretty miserable. It might be great that an infinite being is enjoying itself and seeing all its manifestations. No, that is not much relief for me. But it is a relief for me, for you, for everybody, because you are that infinite being right now. So, and when we realize that, we will see it is all right, that we are safe, and then our lives will truly be free, will be joyous, for the first time, effortlessly ethical also, meant for everybody. We'll also be in a position to really help everybody. Good. So let me wrap it up today. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.